It's been signed off and almost sealed. EU leaders finally endorsed the UK's plan to put an end to its 4 decades of membership in the bloc. But the mood in Brussels was grim, with several leaders warning there would be no plan B.
This is the best deal possible for Britain. This is the best deal possible for Europe. This is the only deal possible.
The agreement outlines the rights of EU citizens in the UK and of UK citizens in the EU. It also includes the Northern Ireland backstop, which will keep the Irish border open if trade talks stall, and the UK's $50 billion divorce bill.
Lots of people say it wouldn't cost anything. They would earn money for the British. The cost, which we talked about several months ago, is massive. Massive. And it's in this withdrawal agreement. So once again, those who told the British people they were going to save tens or hundreds of billions of euros or of pounds lied to them.
The terms of the agreement are fixed, and the biggest challenge will now be for British Prime Minister Theresa May to sell it to a divided parliament back home.
We can back this deal, deliver on the vote of the referendum, and move on to building a brighter future of opportunity and prosperity for all our people. Or this House can choose to reject this deal and go back to square one. Because no one knows what would happen if this deal doesn't pass. It would open the door to more division and more uncertainty, with all the risks that will entail.
The main opposition Labour Party has already said it will reject the plan. It says it keeps the UK too close to the EU. May also has opponents within her own party, and a British public increasingly anxious and fed up with Brexit. Laila Humairah, TRT World.
Well, joining me now from London is Rajneesh Narula. He's a Professor of International Business Regulation at the University of Reading's Henley Business School. Good to have you back with us again, Rajneesh. Now, it seems that getting this deal over the line among 27 leaders of the other EU nations was basically the easy part, because if this deal was put to the UK Parliament today, it'd certainly fail. I'm wondering, do you believe that this deal is what's best for the UK economy and business, for that matter?
Well, it's not the best deal, because the best deal would be to stay within the EU. But given that that's not an option, this is, in fact, the best deal they can get. And Oscar, note that this isn't actually the deal, that is to say, the post-Brexit deal. This is just a withdrawal agreement.
And we've
this
heard...
sets the...
I'm sorry to interrupt there, but we've heard Theresa May's critics saying that this deal, actually a no deal, is better than this deal. And we know that banks have already been preparing for the worst by setting up operations outside of the UK in the event of a no-deal Brexit. I'm wondering, is a no-deal scenario the end of the world, as Theresa May and her supporters have been painting it, or can we actually anticipate such a scenario and have the UK continue to do business in the EU?
I mean, a no-deal Brexit is actually, she's not exaggerating. It is going to be a disaster. There will be very few supermarkets have more than 2 days worth of supplies, because this is the 21st century way of doing business, is that you don't have large warehouses. You bring in things as needed from the continent. So most supermarkets keep about 2 days worth of stock. Most car manufacturers, automobile producers have about a few hours worth of stock. So they're dependent upon things turning up on time. Now, if they wanted to store stuff in the UK, they would have to build massive warehouses, and there simply isn't time. Most people have have about maybe 6 weeks worth of stock there. People have been stockpiling, but there's a shortage of space where to stockpile.
So, as you say, the business community from the outset was against Brexit, but given that this is what we have on offer, or what the community has on offer, is this the deal that should at least proceed to the next stage?
Absolutely. I think that I am no great fan of this 18 months of bickering, and but I know companies are quite tired of this. They want certainty. One of the most important things for firms, for businesses, for companies is some sense of stability, that you know what the future, how the future is going to unfold. And all this bickering and going to and fro hasn't helped anyone. We still don't know for sure what's going to happen in 4 months. And you can see the effect on the markets. If you look at the currency markets, the pound has stayed fairly low against the dollar. It's 1.28 today. If the pound, if there's no deal Brexit, the pound will probably head towards parity with the dollar, which is not a good thing, which will increase prices by about 8 to 10% on average.
And before we let you go, Rajneesh, so Theresa May and the EU, for that matter, are really trying to sell the idea that there is no plan B, that it's this deal or nothing at all. But if the UK Parliament does end up rejecting it, do you think that changes will be forced on this agreement?
Well, first, I think that the Parliament is acting out of political spite. They're after small political victories rather than chasing a deal. And I think out of principle, they're going to reject it the first time round. So it will be rejected once. It'll probably go back again after some minor agreements and some backroom trades taking place. And then they will try and pass it a second time. The markets have factored in that this will probably go back to Parliament at least one more time. There'll be a second vote, and there may even be a third vote. But markets believe, really, that this is a deal that, if common sense were to apply, should prevail.
Interesting. We'll see how the debate unfolds in the British Parliament. Rajneesh Narula in London, thank you as always.